Hello, everybody. Good evening. How are you guys tonight? I am just putting my stick and stamp mini blending buddy on. Happy Friday. Things kind of up. Yep, I have I don't think this is in stock right now, but I have a blending buddy mini slim. And I was putting it on one of my stick and stamp mats tonight because we're going to make a mini slim card. At least one for sure. Depends how fast they go. Jerry asked me to play with some items from the trick or treat class. And I told her I would do that. So, all right. I'm going to throw that piece of paper away. Hi, Amanda. How are you? All right, so I've got my stick and stamp mat ready to go. It is kind of sticky. Now I will say it was super sticky on the edges because I've never used that edge. Oh, switch over to my desk. Hi, Kate. So like I said, I have the Blending Buddy stick and stamp mat. I have some paper cut down to 3 by 6. Let me see for sure. 6 1/4. Hello, hello, hello. You can get Karen, right? If I remember correctly from last night. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to go ahead and put this down on my stick and stamp mat. I'm just going to butt it up against in the corner in case I decide I want to do it again. So I make sure I get it in the right spot. Hi, Mama. And then I have the 2 things I linked in the description box below was the Haunted Mansion Slimline Stencil and Fright Night, I think is what this one's called. These were part of the Trick or Treats class. And like I said, I had a request. I had somebody message me and ask me if I would make some cards with them. So we're going a little trick-or-treating tonight, making some Halloween cards. My mama's favorite. Not. I know, Mama. And I don't really have anything, super planned out, but kind of planned out. So hope everyone had a good week. I am so glad it's Friday. And I am ready to have the weekend and get some crafting done. Now that, I got most of my room. I've got a couple containers coming tomorrow. Yeah, it's okay, Karen. That's what I thought. It was from last night. I see the K, but it's for some reason last night it was doing the at whatever names. It's like, I don't know if it's like tying in. I think it's being weird. It's fine. You're fine. That's why it's like, I thought I had you last night. So I'm going to go ahead and use some Post-it notes. And these are the full Post-it notes. I just get them online, and I'm going to use them to cover up the bottom just because in case I decide I want to use that, that little piece at the bottom there to make a sentiment or something. We're probably going to cut that off. I got the Haunted Mansion here on here. I'm going to try a little kind of version of a Joseph's technique is what I'm thinking. So we're going to start with how I always start. If you're going to do anything with yellow, start with the yellow. And I'm going to grab, I just lost, there, my little mini brush here. And my camera feels very, very close tonight. Like I don't feel like, that's okay. I mean, I feel like I don't have a lot of extra space on my desk, but that's okay. You guys can see that. So, all right. So I got my Stellar ink and my ink stand here. And I'm just grabbing one of our little 4-inch blending brushes. And I'm going to go ahead and we're going to ink them up on the windows because, our Haunted Mansion is going to be haunted. We're going to have it's going to be like there's stuff inside, right? And then I don't think I want to do a white or a yellow door. I think I'm going to do some fun. We're going to do like a purple door. So just move this off to the side and we're going to grab Crown Me, which is my favorite. And grab my little brush. I'm going to do that purple on here. Kind of give it some nice fun color. And then you guys know me, some mini slims are my favorite. So that's why I want, I'm excited to do those tonight. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab my little cleaner here. And I'm going to try to go around the purple. And I'm only cleaning this up because we're going to cover these up quick so I can blend and not worry about getting the other color inside the windows. Okay, so I'm going to grab, and I'm going to use just some washi tape because it's small and it's the thickness, and just cover up each one of our little windows here. I think for that one up on top there, I'm going to need to cut it down a little bit. I think for this one, just do a couple big pieces and make like a kind of an evening. It might not be quite long enough. Might have trimmed that down a little too much. So I don't know, does anyone have any fun plans this weekend? I will take the dog for his walk, of course, like I always do. And then I don't know, for those of you who don't know, you know, the mustache app, I talked about it last night too. If you haven't joined the mustache community page yet on Facebook, do that. But we are going to have a cool meet craft day tomorrow. So I'm excited about that. And that information will be in that YouTube group. So I think I'm going to use Love Struck and Guppy, and I don't know if I'm going to do Crown Me. We'll see. We might do Crown Me. And then I'll grab some No Diving as well. So we're going to start with the Guppy because the sun is setting. We're going to make kind of a sunset scene now. I'm not perfect at this, but I just go for it. So we're going to grab one of my other blending brushes here. And I'm okay if I get a little bit on the edge. I mean, I guess I could take a piece of scratch paper here. Let's see. I have an inexpensive piece of scratch paper, like you know what I mean? Like real scratch paper. I'll just put this piece down and stick it down just to protect my ink surface a little bit. Oh, yay, Tracy. I am too. I'll actually have to gardening, specifically shoveling wood chip mulch all weekend. Ooh, Amanda. That is something that has to be done too. Yeah, Tracy, I'm excited now that my room is put together. I actually can craft with you guys. Like last week when you guys were doing something, or when you guys were doing that, I had my son here, so I really couldn't talk to you guys. And then you guys were done when I was able to get on. So it will be fun. I'm not sure what I'm going to work on yet. Start with the yellow or the orange, and then we'll grab the Love Struck and move on up. And my Love Struck is a little purpley. It's kind of weird. I don't know if I accidentally inked it wrong or something. I'm actually going to move that over and grab my bee sting because I want a little bit more red. We'll use the Stellar ink there. A little bit more red than. Now, I didn't use any pixie spray, so I'm trying to be careful to not move my house a little bit too much, but it will be fine. Now, the other thing I did not do, we're going to do, like I said, a little version of like the Joseph coat. I'll show you, I think. Oh, Amanda, you know, but that stuff has to be done, especially depending on the weather you're located at. You know, I mean, fall is coming here very quickly. It froze last night. Woo! So, you know, you've got to do the outside work. I cleaned up my gardens last weekend. Well, half my gardens. The rest of my gardens are regular flowers. I should probably go out and clean those up. But I might do that on Sunday instead. And then we're going to do a little black, little blue up here because it's getting a little darker. I might go down a little bit into the red. I probably should use some pixie spray just to keep that house right there. But it's fine. It'll be fine. It's a Halloween card. Halloween cards don't have to be perfect. Okay. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to peel it off. Are you ready? The difference. No, the difference. Well, okay, here, I'll show you the difference. The difference is only the pad, Tracy. Foam versus felt. You can use the same. Hi, Cordelia. Sorry, I missed that. You snuck in. You can use the same reinkers. It's just the biggest difference is you get a lot more ink with this than you do with this. I love these, and I'm excited to order my new ones, the new colors. I just haven't done that yet. That's probably in my agenda for next week. I know you've used foam pads before. It takes some getting used to because I'm not used to them. still yet, you know, making sure I get them, you know, like blend off. But I love them. Yeah. Yep. And I watched his video a couple times to make sure I understood that, because I have all the re-anchors for these. And he said, nope, you can use the same ones. So I was lucky. I just bought the re-anchors for the new colors. All right. You ready for the reveal? Look at how fun this is. Look at how fun this is. All right. I'm going to leave that in place for right now. Now, Simon Hurley inks. Now, one thing we could do is we could add a little black to it, but I'm not going to. Simon Hurley inks are a little bit, they stay wet a little bit longer. So for fun, I'm going to grab this fairy dust. The colors are very vibrant, and direct to paper is fabulous. I can show you that here in a minute. We're going to throw this is fairy dust, which is my favorite embossing powder. One of my favorites. It's probably that and icicle, which is just clear. An icicle can just be boring, you know, but I love. Now it might not stick to my windows as well. Okay, I just have to make sure it doesn't stick to my house. So, like I said, Joseph coat is, we're gonna, you know, ink blend over the black over it. So we just want to make sure that we don't have a lot of stray spots on the house where that melts. Okay. And fairy dust has a little bit of glitter in it. Oh, and I have it on my desk. Look at that. That's right. That's what I got my Swiffer for. Thank you. I'm excited. I actually hadn't used these before. I meant to. I just have been getting behind. So let's go ahead. I'm going to grab I have my little silicone mat here. Well, might as well use it. Now, hopefully, if I did this right, I got to check on my windows good before we. All right. Now, I'm not seeing a lot of embossing powder on my windows. So I'm going to quick put this back up in, and we're going to put a little bit more ink down there. I should have probably ink blended on those real quick before. Like I said, we're just going to put this back in the corner. I can line that up pretty easily, though. Pretty easily, though. We'll just line it right back up. Stick that back down. We're going to add just a little bit more. I'm going to pull this tape off, and we're going to add a little bit more of the yellow and purple so that I can make sure it sticks. The embossing powder sticks. Because it does dry, but it dries fairly quickly, but you usually have a little bit of wiggle room with the Simon Hurley inks to do some heat embossing with it, which is one of the reasons why I love using them. I put my brushes off to the side. So the other thing I think I like about the Simon Hurley inks is that they do blend. Even colors that aren't supposed to blend tend to blend fairly well and not turn into mud. I mean, you get some, kind of colors, but not really that mud color that you get when you normally blend with, like purple and orange, for example. I mean, you can get a muddy color, but it's kind of pretty. Okay. Let's quick throw that heat embossing on there. That heat. There we go. That will help do what we want it to do. Quick set those windows. All right. Now, see, I don't know, you're not going to be able to see a lot of the shimmer and shine. I mean, you can kind of see there. So you can see like the door. It looks just more shiny, but in real life, when you twist it, there's a little bit of glitter and stuff in there. Now we're going to make it look a mess. And I'm going to go ahead and use the Black Widow, which the area of my desk, my new area on my desk, is still not 100%. So I'm kind of playing, like looky well and reaching around to grab things because I'm not 1,000% set up yet, but it's so much better. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna grab this and we're gonna go for it. You ready? It's gonna look messy. And actually, yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead. I don't care about the edges so much there. I wanna go in here. And I know I have sometimes not had the best luck. Maybe I haven't heat set my embossing powder the right way, or because I've actually rubbed off sometimes my embossing powder when I've done the Joseph coat, and the Black Widow ink might not be the right ink for this. Might need to grab a different ink. Because I am going to trim off the edges a little bit. We're just going to go in, and it doesn't have to be perfect because it is kind of a haunted house. So gray is fine. I'm going to do a little bit on the edge. I know it is always terrifying. Hopefully I did it right. But you know what? That's sometimes the fun part about being live is that, you know, we watch people's videos and we don't see them make the mistakes. And then we feel bad because we think we screw up. And I know this sounds horrible, but sometimes I watch for the mistakes or the not so perfect bits. And I don't mean that as a criticism. I mean that as it makes me feel human. Like, you know, you might see a little close up on one of the photos of one of our big people that we love to watch, that everyone loves to watch. And you see like a little frayed edge or not quite so perfect straight line. And it makes me think, whew. Besides, these are homemade cards, right? All right. All right. Let that sit for a minute. And then we're going to go in and we're going to start wiping. And hopefully, I'm okay with a little bit of it on the dark, on the, I might have to wet this. Sometimes I wet it down too, see, because it may not be perfect, but it is a Halloween card. So I'm going to go add, I don't want squeaky clean. I'm going to add water, just a little bit of water to my cloth. And it's not going to be quite as vibrant. Like I said, you know, it's a little bit different, but it's going to be okay. I mean, yeah, we had that vibrant color on there, but we've got a night sky. All right. So it is very messy looking, but I'm going to pull it up. And we've got, you know, what I like about the fact that I didn't do it super deep, because I could have gone more than one coat, is that it's dark around the edges. And so it's getting to be nighttime and kind of spooky-y. So let's cut this down because I don't want such a thick border. I'm going to put the edge of my color right on the white thing here. And then we'll cut that down. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And then I'll do the same thing at the top. And then I can just cut out just a hair off the bottom because I'm going to make this 6 inches. Okay. So we've got this part. Now, like I said, the edges aren't super dark. I can make them darker if I want to. You know, I can go like direct to paper if I wanted to. I could use a different ink, but I like the distress part kind of it. I mean, because it's Halloween, and Halloween to me means non-perfect. That's the one thing I like about making perfect cards. Halloween cards. They're messy. They're, you know, you can do whatever you want. I mean, another thing we can do, I'm going to pull out my stamp. I'm going to pull this off quick. Put this back down to cover up my house just a little bit. And where is it? Grab my Chroma Mist Gold and just spritz a little over the top. And that will give it some more shimmer. but yet it didn't get all on my house. Okay. So now we're going to wipe things down. We're going to pull out some pattern paper. I grabbed the Halloween treats. I did not link this below, but I can add it. And I'm just going to pull out a color. I love, look at how, oops, I have it covered. Look at how fun these colors are. These patterns are. Kind of pull them up so you can see them. Real fun. I think I'm going to try to find this pumpkin one. Of course, I can't get that back in right now. Put it behind me. And I'm going to cut it in half. Actually, we're going to cut it down. Just make a little couple strips. Let's see. Actually, we'll cut it at 3 because then I have one for an entire mini slim card because, you know, that's me and my favorite. Then I'm going to move it over and cut off 1 inch. Not sure what I want to do with that yet. We need to grab some other cardstock. I'm going to grab some black cardstock for my stash because I do want to put it on black. Oh, it is adorable paper. When I took it crafting, Sandy from the design team was with me and she borrowed it. And I hadn't used it yet. So I had to make sure I was like, did I order a second one of them? Because I really like this paper. It's fun for a regular Halloween card, yet also you could do some cutesy Halloween cards with them. I'm going to kind of do what I think I did last night, where I'm just going to kind of layer it down a little bit over there. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off a little bit off the bottom here. I'm going to cut a little more off the bottom. I think I want to stamp my sentiment down here. And then we've got to put it on a card base. Now, I have no card bases made tonight. I don't know if I have any slimline card bases close because a lot of times I cut my slimline card bases down in half. I need to make a bunch of mini slimline cards. I had them, but I'm not sure where they're at right now, of course, because I moved my room around. So let's get this going here. Yep, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to find a little sentiment to put on right there. So I'm going to do that. Yeah. And I think what I like about this pattern paper in particular, which we could totally have done, is I could, you know, you can make a card. I mean, look, put this, and you've got a fabulous just card, you know, put a little, you know, as a pattern on the back. And then you can tone it down with maybe some vellum on top or do a, you know, a panel. It's not quite centered. That'll work though. And it's just enough. So I'm going to layer that kind of like this. And I'm going to go down just a little bit so it looks like it's intentional. But I think I need to trim a little bit more off. Just a little bit more. And play this with this one. I'm thinking maybe with the jack-o'-lantern one, the jack-o'-lantern stencil in my head, I'm thinking maybe we'll put that on some orange and we'll go direct to paper. We'll see. All right. So I've got that. And of course, you can see where I wasn't careful. So I got a little bit of the, embossing powder there. So that's why that's white. That's why I kind of like to add in that spritz in those. This, like I said, this is one of my favorite spray because it helps kind of make that up when you make a small mistake like that. Throw my card in here, and then I'm going to put it down at the bottom, and then we need a sentiment. And most of these are too big, so I did go into my stash and grab a few, and I'm going to. These are out of stock. These are old oh, that's not straight. That is not straight on there. Let's see if we can peel that off. I think I just got it so that it's not going to be straight. Oh my gosh, it's not straight at all. Okay, well, we're going to cover that up. Somehow, I'm going to figure out how to cut. I know what I'm going to do. I'll cut up a little piece of, because if you notice, that is not straight. It is horrible. Please, please, please ignore that. I'm going to heat emboss. That's what happens sometimes when you're live. That's okay. My daughter Haley will love it anyway. I'll just send it to her. She won't care. And what I like to do is we're going to do white. We're going to heat emboss with white. She's Halloween everything. So I'll just be like, hey, here's a card for you. Keep it. Because it is not straight. And then Bruce Monroe embossing powder or white ink is really nice. However, what I like to do with it is grab our alabaster embossing powder. For those of you who like really bright white, and I like to heat emboss right over the top of our alabaster, and it just makes it pop even more. And that gives it that nice bright white color. Yeah, it is totally fine for Halloween. You're right. I need to cut the other edge a little wonky to make it real. And then when I put it on a card base, see how bright white that is? Let me bring that up. Look at how bright white that is. Now, of course, I got to let it cool off a little bit. So we're going to do that. Tracy, you make me thinking about that being happy. We're going to make this one a little bit wonky on this side. We're just going to, let's see, we'll go this way. Just a hair. We're going to make it just a little hair on each, because then it will look intentional. That if each of our lines on the black cardstock aren't quite straight. There. So then when I put it on a card base, we'll make a card base up real quick. I showed this last night because I made a mini slim card. So I take an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper and I cut off 4 inches. Actually, tonight I'm going to do 4. I'm going to do 4. I always do it this way because it's just the easiest for me. Math hard sucks. And then I'm going to cut it down to 6 1/4. Then I can save these for something else. Like I said, that's the best part, is you can always add splatter and muck and tear things up and make it all okay. And then I'm going to score it at 3 1/2. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it down again. Because I like 3 1/4 by 6 1/4. Sometimes I do 3 1/4 by 6 1/2. But I'll show you. This is the 3 1/4 by 3 1/2, which a lot of people do. And see, I could totally put my card on at an angle, but I don't think that it fits in an envelope as nicely. For me and my envelopes, I just use regular letter size envelopes. So I'm going to cut this down to 3 1/4. And then I save these for sentiment strips. And I have perfect 1/4 inch sentiment strips. Whew. For as cold as it was today, I'm getting a little warm. And then I'm going to go ahead and put it on. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on at a wonky angle, and then we're going to cut it off. See? We could do it this way too, but I'm going to do it this way. I think that's going to be kind of fun. Now that, like you said, wonky. Make it intentional. So I'm going to add a lot of tape, and we're going to put it down at an angle. Oops. Because I've actually never done it like this before. We're just going to put it down at an angle, making sure my sentiment stays on there. Like that. We're going to leave it for just a few minutes, make sure it's nice and adhered. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my scissors and cut this off. Hi, Penny. How are you? I made a boo-boo on my card, so we're punting, and I'm going to cut. I'm doing it at a wonky angle. I'm going to trim it off all the way around. Hopefully I didn't screw it up too bad. The other day when I did this, I actually cut too close to the line, and I ended up cutting part of the the fold. See, now look, I kind of have this, it's kind of got this one wonky card. Happy Halloween. But now it looks intentional. All right, so that's kind of mini slim card number 1, using that Haunted Manor, I think is what it was called. Not very good with the names yet. And then I want to do the jack-o'-lantern one too, but I got to figure out where I put that. Here it is. This one is called Fright Night, I believe. The bats are fabulous, but I want to use this one. I'm going to grab a piece of, this is jack-o'-lantern paper. I have to use that up, but the other option, if the jack-o'-lantern is out of stock, is our new pumpkin. And I'm going to go ahead and cut this down. I'm going to measure this to, it's 3 inches, 3 by 6. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you, you guys. It happens. You know, it's just paper. All right. Now, this one. Once again, it's a little long, but that's okay. That's an easy way to, I don't really need to worry about pixie spray again, because this, we're going to go ahead and just tape this down. Let's grab my stick and stamp mat. Stick that down on there. And we're going to do, I'm going to do black. We're going to do black. And I'm just going to tape it down on this side too. Oops. But I think what I want to do for this one, first of all, we're going to add a little anti-static powder tool. Which I should be careful, because I don't like to do that on my stick and stamp mat, because I don't like to get the powder on it. But I want it in particular in this face area. Okay. Tape this down real good. And I think what I'm going to do this time, instead of the Black Widow ink, we're going to heat emboss again. But I'm going to use my VersaFine Clair ink. And I have I think I have a tool. Let's see if I got one. We'll make this one work. I'm not sure what's on this one, but we're just going to grab this. And because this is a pigment ink, this will work really well with the embossing powder. And we're going to go right on here. I'm okay if it not being super dark, because I'm going to use Scowleen, which is one of my favorite. Oh yeah, purple would be cool too, but my embossing powder has purple in it. I'll show you. And I know I'm kind of shaking because, like I said, I got to get I got to figure out a way to get with my desk. A different look and, or a different thing for my setup for my camera. So we're going to do that. That is that one. And then I am going to try to do the yellow. We're going to try to do this in two steps quick, just to see. It may not work, but it might have a hint. It's okay if it doesn't. It's just going to be a brighter color. It doesn't have to be super yellow, because, you know, I'm going on a lighter color on it. I mean, I could grab some yellow embossing ink, of course. But, all right, let's reveal this. Look at how fun that is. And we're going to very quickly, I'm going to add the fairy dust to the face. And that's because that's that Stellar ink. It'll dry faster. And then, hopefully, I have a piece of cardstock here somewhere. Let's see. This looks like it's inexpensive cardstock. I need to find my printer paper. We got my Scowleen, and my Scowleen is my favorite. It's got purple and green and black. And we're going to cover all, and because I use that VersaFine Clair, it stays, because it's a pigment ink, it will stay wet a little longer, so I have a little bit more space. and time. Now we're going to make sure, look at, I mean, it's going to be more fun. Just give me a minute here to wipe this off up here. We could cut that off, but all right. Now I've learned from the past, put your embossing powder away. So I tapped my jar on my paper so it gets all off the lid and not on my desk. I'm going to let you guys all in a little secret. My friend Tracy, she doesn't emboss. I'm going to rat you out there, Miss Tracy. She is the hot foiling queen, but she is not an embossing ink kind of girl, which is okay. I understand. One of these days I'll get her to, but just wait. If you go to Brutus Monroe, you need to ask Heather to introduce you to Scowleen, because Scowleen's her favorite person. Scowleen lives in Christopher's office. Now look at how fun that is. I'm trying to be careful because I used to have my little container to hold my ink, my embossing gun, and I don't now, so I don't want to accidentally start it. I'll try to scratch it off a little bit. I got a little piece there. It's okay. Let's see if I can use my eraser to get that off. We can add some splatter if we need to too. There we go. That works. It's close enough. Now, look at that. Yeah, isn't that? It's fun. I'm going to try to, it's, like I said, it's black, and then it's just got the hints of the green. And so it's kind of like a galaxy sky. When I go one way, I see a lot of the green. When I go the other way, I see a lot of blue or purple. It does. Tracy, that's funny. There are some fun, we have some fun embossing powders, I can tell you that. Now, we are going to trim a little bit more off the top of this, just because I feel like it's a little bit heavy at the top compared to the bottom. And I think, now this is one of those that you could totally trim off all the edges. And I'm kind of thinking I want to do that. Thank you, Tracy. I am going to kind of do it. We're going to go for it. We're going to trim it off. And we're going to leave the bottom orange. So let's trim it off. Oops, didn't trim it off far enough. There we go. We're going to make a nice panel, a nice panel. And we're going to trim off just a hair off the bottom, because we can make a, so now I can save these little strips if I want, but I'm going to be a good girl and throw them away. They would make little sentiment strips, which actually I might save one for our card. And then let's go ahead and find another piece of that pattern paper. Where did I put the paper pad? All right. I think I want, that's a little too much, I think. I'm leaning towards maybe this. I'm going to do this one, the Starry Night background. So we're going to cut this in half. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. There we go. Yeah, they do. Oh, hi, Jesse. He is. This. Thank you. This is cute. This is one of our new mini slim. I just put it off to the side here. Stencils. Sorry, my desk is a mess, Miss Jessie. How are you, my friend? So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to put that down, but I think I'm going to pop it up with some foam tape. Thank you. Like, that's the one thing I think with this stencil in particular, it is so easy to make just a quick and easy background with it, because it, especially, like I said, you could do a slimline card with it. You just would make your panel, like it would be the center panel maybe. Scissors. And I learned that this, our foam tape, which I was supposed, that's what I knew there was something I was going to text Heather or Jess today and ask about, was the foam tape. I forgot. And I'm just going to peel it off. We're going to stick it on. And then we need another sentiment. But this one, I think I can use one of the sentiments from the Trick or Treat set. Now I got to pull the card up so I can see it. See, I mean, there's even that other side over there, but we're going to just do this one. I'm going to just go ahead and we're going to center it as easily as I can. This time I'm going to try to do my best. All right, that looks a little bit better. And then look at the dimension of that. Fun, huh? And then you could do a card base that's black or orange. I'm just going to look and see what we think. I think I'm going to go black with it. So let's try to use this piece of paper. It needs to be, let's see here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I need to take off 3/4. Okay, so it's going to be, we're going to kind of eyeball this a little bit. I'm going to just guesstimate. See how I did. Because I don't have, oh, look at that. I did almost perfect. That'll work. And then we're going to make this at 6 1/4. Like I said, save these. Grab our scoring board again, and we'll put it in. It's a little bit bigger than 7, but that's okay because we're going to cut it down anyway. And I'm still going to score it at 3 1/2 just because I know, like, if you didn't want to waste and get those skinny strips, you could do 3 1/4 at the score line. And when you cut it off, you'd have bigger chunks. One side would be bigger than the other, but for me, this is the easiest way to do it. And then, like I said, I have those little sentiment strips. And I didn't measure this 100% properly, so. All right. Because I don't have a cutter that will work on my desk for my lives. I have a really big cutter when I'm needing to measure down, but it's over on the other side of the room. It doesn't fit on my desk. All right, so we've got that. And then look, we're just going to put this, and look at how it fits perfectly in the center of that card. Fun, huh? And then we can put a sentiment across the top. And I think we're going to do with a little longer sentiment this time. And I missed the corners. So let's see if my glue is going to work for me today. So a funny story. This weekend, I learned very hard to be very careful if your glue gets stuck. Last weekend, I pushed the nozzle in. I ended up having to go buy, and I couldn't get the top off. So I had to go buy new bottles. And then I didn't realize that you had to buy specific nozzles for my glue press. So I had to go back and buy the nozzles the next day because I didn't buy them. But look at how fun that is. Now we need to, you could do white on the inside. I think I'm going to do orange. I don't know if I have a piece that fits. So we're going to cut that down. I got a piece right here. Yeah. I'm going to do orange on the inside because, it's Halloween. Thank you, Jessie. We're going to cut this down to 3 by 6. So I'm going to cut the 6 first just because. And then I'll do 3. That's going to give me a nice wide border around the outside. I'm not a person that does a lot of sentiment on the inside. I do it sometimes. I think I'm probably going to just leave this one empty. Sometimes I'll do it when I send the card, if I'm going to send it to somebody. I think tonight we're just going to leave it as is, but we do need a sentiment for the outside. All right. Eyeball this. Look at that. Awesome. Okay, so let's magnetize this down and get a sentiment. I'm going to look at our sentiment here. We have, now this is a mini slim card, so I sorry, I'm just looking at them. I am going to do some surgery. So look away if this is not for you. Grab my really fine point scissors. I'm going to cut my scissors. Don't look. Don't look. If this isn't for you, don't look. Okay. I'm going to stamp it, and then I can put it like this on here. And really, I could do the and too, but I'm not going to cut the little and off because I tend to lose those small pieces. And then we're going to stamp out our sentiment. You know, the crafter math is real, you guys, when you're stuff all over the place. All right. So I'm going to put my candy corn here. We'll stick this one up in here. Now I had a magnet here. There it is. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to heat emboss those too. And no, actually, I think I'm just going to do them black. Because I said I don't know what. And I'm just going to use that same black ink because it's right here on my desk, that Nocturne. And I like to do my sentiments multiple times and push them gently, especially when they're not a thick sentiment. And then I know what finishing touch I want to do. Okay, now this is pigment ink, so we're going to just quick set it real fast. Okay. And what I like to do with my sentiments is put it right up. Try to move this up a little bit. So here, I'll move it up here so you can see it. I line it right up here. So when I go to cut it down, it is the same. I can do that on this side as well. Because this is a straight line, I can do, and then this side, I can do it the other way. And I usually get, it's pretty close. And then I do the same thing with the edges. Or the sides. Just put the edges. And I realize that at least as long as my H and those will be the same. I mean, look at how, you know, pretty close. Me and straight lines, they don't like me. But that's probably why, like I said, I like Halloween cards. So, if you are interested, I've been doing a 13 days of Halloween with the Advent calendar with the Brutus Monroe. I'm going to put this down here a little bit because it looks like it's off just a hair. Just a hair. It looked like it was off for me. On my YouTube channel, which is Sugar Cards by Candi. And I've been doing a video every day using the Advent calendar. Why does that look off? Because it is. All right, well, let's put it back in. Put it down just a hair. That'll be close. That's close enough. Oh, I gotta sneeze, you guys. If I sneeze, I apologize. And then we're gonna grab my glue. I'm gonna do both. I'm gonna do some liquid because it's on heat embossing. I'm gonna do both glue, tape runner, and glue. Because I do that when I like to use my when I'm on like glitter paper or embossing ink, because it tends to stick a little easier. Now, the one thing I couldn't find, and somewhere in my mess from when I was gone, oh, okay, Kate, mine's spoiled too, so I understand. And Halloween wishes is, I have this bat, and I used one the other night it's not the one I want. So this weekend. I am going to add a couple of bats maybe to this if I can find them to finish it off. And then when I post the pictures, you'll see that, but I can't promise. And I think for a little bit of fun, the other night I did this, and I'm going to do this tonight. I'm going to grab these topaz crystals and I'm going to put them in the eyeballs. Because I did that on a card the other night, and I did black, but I'm going to do the topaz because this will make it kind of like shimmery, shiny. Because it'll mimic more of like a candle. And I'm going to do that again. And there we go. All right, you guys, there's card number 2. I put card number 1 somewhere, of course. I can't find it now in this crafter math. Let's see if I can find it quick here before we sign off. I hope you guys enjoyed this couple of cards I made tonight. Yeah, there it is. Oh, I got to sneeze. Cover it up. Here are the 2 cards I made tonight using those stencils. So I have the Haunted Mansion one, and then my little jack-o'-lantern one. Look at the fun way those eyes kind of sparkle. It's kind of an unexpected. And then I like the wonkiness of the unexpected of that. So I appreciate you guys tonight so much. If you enjoyed this, hi, Luann. Please give me a thumbs up or subscribe. If you're watching the Brutus Monroe channel, great. I also, like I said, my channel is Sugar Cards by Candi. And you can see some content from me there. And I go live every Wednesday. And I will be live next Friday for Halloween. However, it will be a little late. I will post, but I think it'll be closer to 7:30, 8 o'clock Central Time. Because trick-or-treating ends at 7, and I'd like to wait until the trick-or-treaters are done, if that's okay with you guys. So I will have it posted, so you can sign up for notifications during the day when I go live. And we will make another Halloween card with some other things. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate y'all. Have a great rest of your night, great evening, and Tracy, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, y'all.